Talanta Stadium is looking more and more like a finished football arena. What was once dominated by concrete, steel, and ongoing construction is now beginning to come together. The pitch is taking shape, the seats are going in, and at the entrances, turnstiles are being installed, bringing another important part of the stadium's operation closer to completion. Today, we are taking a closer look at the latest progress inside Talanta Stadium. And as you will see, the transformation is becoming very difficult to ignore. Let's start with arguably the most important part of any football stadium, the pitch. The playing surface at Talanta is now looking dramatically different from the earlier stages of construction. The green grass is beginning to dominate the center of the stadium, creating the first real impression of what this arena will look like when football finally arrives. From the stands, you can now get a much better sense of the relationship between the pitch and the sitting ball, and this is important. A stadium can have an impressive exterior, massive stands, and spectacular roof, but ultimately, football is played here. The pitch has to meet the standards expected of a modern international stadium. As the grass continues to establish itself, the focus will increasingly shift from simply installing the playing surface to maintaining it and getting it ready for competitive football. The contrast is particularly striking when you compare this view with earlier construction stages. Back then, the center of the stadium was still largely a work zone. Today, you are looking at recognizable football pitch, and that alone makes this one of the most visible signs of progress at Talanta Stadium. But the pitch isn't the only thing changing. Look around the stadium bowl and you'll notice another major transformation: the seats. Section by section, the seating areas are being fitted out, and once enough seats are installed, the stadium starts to feel completely different. This is one of those stages of construction where the scale of the project becomes much easier to appreciate. Instead of looking at rows of unfinished concrete terraces, you can now begin to imagine thousands of spectators filling these stands on a match day. Every completed section brings Talanta closer to its final appearance. And there is something else that becomes obvious from these views. The sitting bowl gives the stadium a very different character from traditional Kenyan stadiums. The focus is clearly on creating a modern football environment where the spectators are brought close to the action. As most seats are installed, the visual identity of Talanta is becoming clearer. The empty concrete structure is gradually disappearing underneath the finished stadium elements, and when the entire ball is eventually filled, the difference should be dramatic. Imagine these stands packed with tens of thousands of fans. That is when Talanta Stadium will truly come alive. Now, let's move outside the sitting bowl and look at another detail that may seem small but is extremely important. The turnstiles. Turnstiles are being installed at the stadium's access points, creating controlled entry points for spectators. And this is a major step because a modern stadium isn't just about what happens on the pitch. It also has to manage thousands of people moving into and out of the facility. On match day, spectators need to enter efficiently. Tickets or access credentials need to be verified, and crowd movements need to be controlled. That is where systems like this become essential. And seeing the turnstiles going in give us another indication that the project is moving beyond the major structural works and deeper into the stadium's operational systems. It is these small details that can sometimes be overlooked when we look at a massive project like Talanta. But when you combine them, the pitch, seats, turnstiles, entrances, and other finishing works, you start to see something very different. You are no longer just looking at stadium under construction. You are looking at a stadium being prepared for people. And this is perhaps the most interesting part of the latest update. Look at the stadium as a whole. The pitch is green. The seating is progressively filling the stands. The access points are receiving their turnstiles, and the entire interior is beginning to resemble the final product. This is the stage where individual construction activities start connecting together. The pitch doesn't look like an isolated construction element anymore. The seats don't look isolated rows. The entrances don't look like unfinished access points. Everything is beginning to work together as one stadium. And that is what makes this phase so exciting to watch. For anyone who has followed Talanta Stadium from the early construction stages, the difference is becoming increasingly obvious. What started as a huge construction project is gradually turning into a venue that people can actually imagine using. Talanta Stadium is still a work in progress, but these latest developments give us a much clearer picture of what Kenya's new football arena is becoming. The pitch is taking shape, the seats have been completed, turnstiles are being installed, and the stadium is steadily moving closer to its final form. The next major question is no longer simply whether Talanta will look impressive. It's how impressive this stadium will look when every seat is installed, the pitch is fully established, the finishing works are complete, and the stands are finally filled with fans. For now, the transformation continues. And here at Urban Explorer 254, we'll keep following every major milestone. If you enjoyed watching African cities, stadiums, and infrastructure transform before your eyes, make sure you subscribe. And tell me in the comments, what do you think Talanta Stadium will look like on its first major match day? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next update.